Hey, everybody. Welcome to Holding Priority Podcast, the CEDH podcast. On today's episode, we are going to discuss the Bloomburrow set, specifically the Commander section. We have reviewed the other main standard Bloomburrow set in a previous episode. If you're looking for that, please go listen to it and stick around for the Commander set review after, which is this episode. And if you already watched the other episode, then you've come to the right place. This is the Commander card episode.
And if you watch them out of order, cool too.
Not okay with me.
I'm perfectly fine either way.
As always in our set reviews, this is something that you hopefully can listen to as a podcast, and you'll be completely fine listening to it audio. We will explain the cards before we talk about them. We'll do our best to explain everything that's on the card, and then jump into the card itself. We do get excited whenever we're looking at some of the cooler cards, and halfway through, I might just start talking about it. But I'm going to do my best. We also have it on YouTube, so if you're somebody that you're like, I really want the card up while they're talking about it, I need to see it, we will have that for you. It's on YouTube, Holding Priority Podcast. We should be the first result. If you're there, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're already here, you came right here, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Trying to grow the podcast, so more recommendations you can do, likes, ratings, reviews, comments really help. Please push us up in the algorithm so more people can see our content. We'd really appreciate it.
For sure. I have no apologies for me ranting about a card. That's what it is.
Yeah, so our last one was 2.5 hours, which to date is our longest set review, and honestly it was kind of exhausting. We did it that the morning we went and we played a whole bunch of games, told all our friends about how cool we thought the set was, and now we're back to do the Commander set review. So
We do this for you.
yeah,
We love you.
we stress ourselves out by playing all of these card games and reviews, and it's just it's agony.
Horrible games we play. Long, drawn out counter spells and such. No. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's jump into it. So I believe the face commanders are first. We review them by their set number, but the way that Magic puts them in, I believe the face commanders are first. I like to pick the prettiest arts I can. So this is Bello, Bard of the Brambles. He is a 1 generic, red-green, legendary creature, Raccoon Bard. During your turn, each non-equipment artifact and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 elemental creature in addition to its other types, and has indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
I think it's pretty straightforward on this one. Gruul is kind of a hard color combination to really run through. I think the art on this is awesome.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
all of the little critter art, but
I love trash pandas in general.
yeah, raccoons are awesome.
Yeah.
This one is a magic raccoon. I don't think that this is going to break anything. I do think if you're going to make a raccoon tribal,
Yeah.
this could be your commander.
This effect on a 3-color commander would be insane.
Yeah.
Gruul specifically, you have to look at this card and go, okay, is it better than Atali? And the answer is no. You know?
Yeah.
I like it. It's good. The fact that all of your mana rocks and utility enchantments like Sylvan Library, they can swing. They're 4/4 elemental creature tokens that have indestructible and haste. Is really cool. You building your board also builds towards damage and also draws you cards.
The problem that I'm seeing though is it's artifact and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater.
Oh, yep,
Yeah,
never mind.
So it's
yeah.
I mean, you could do. I don't even really think of any 4 or greater enchantments, to be honest. Maybe
Smothering Tithe,
but it's white.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the exact method to play this. I would say that as far as like a CEDH card, probably not.
Me thinking it was every
And oh
artifact and
man,
enchantment, I was just like, this probably will not see CDH play. Now that I know it's 4 greater, yeah, this is. I mean, these are tuned for casual, and I'm glad that it exists. This sounds like a really fun deck. Immediately, what came to mind was, oh, they have indestructible, so I'm going to be that guy that just wipes out all artifacts over and over, and my mana rocks are safe. You know,
mm, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's really good 4 cost enchantments in green and red. I cannot think of one at the moment. But if y'all do, put it in the comments. Let us know how this is broken. I think it's
yeah.
a really cool card, though.
I mean, I can only really think of like maybe Ullrin and like uh yeah, that's weird. And I mean like in non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or less is a 4/4. So like let's say Nyxbloom Ancient, you play Nyxbloom Ancient, it's a 6 cost and then it becomes a 4/4. It gets smaller. Like I
Mm-hmm.
mean clearly you wouldn't put it in the deck, but yeah, I don't see this being CDH. Really cool. Like for a casual deck, fun. Like I could definitely see somebody brewing it and being like, I'm just gonna wipe everybody's stuff out and all my stuff has indestructible, so I don't care, and then I'll swing with it.
Yeah. Again, I don't know the method for this one. This one's kind of out of my expertise. I do think that the art is good, but I think a lot of the arts are cool. So
Yeah, I do see that. I like that Magic was like, we'll put a secondary commander in every deck because almost every main commander is tuned for casual, and then the secondary commanders are the ones, for the most part, that they're like, these are a little bit more overpowered. Like, if you want to play a fun precon game, here's the face commander. If you want to play a better, stronger game, here's the second one. Not everyone is the same, but I always think about the Painbow deck, where the Planeswalker 5 color is definitely a precon level commander, and then the Jared one sees CDH play all the time. Woobird,
yeah,
right. Let's go on to the next one. This is Hazel of the Root Bloom. 2 generic, black green, legendary creature, Squirrel Druid. Taps, pay 2 life. Tap X untap tokens you control. Add X mana in any combination of colors at the beginning of your end step. Create a token that's a copy of target token you control. If that token is a squirrel, instead create 2 tokens that are copies of it. It's a 3/5.
this Chatterfang, I mean, goes in it.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as CEDH goes, maybe this is where it's at. I don't. I mean, also awesome art. I don't really see this being game changing in too many decks. I don't think it would be a commander of a squirrel commander here because
mm.
Chatterfang is really hard to break.
I mean, also, yeah, I mean, black green doesn't really have a lot of options to close. Whenever I see a commander, like I always say, I want to see immediate value. I want to see that when I slam my commander down, the game state changes, and if you have to tap your commander, like yeah, you can build around it. You can put boots in and stuff like that. Like Rowan is a really strong tap commander that honestly I stopped playing her because it was okay, well, I put Rowan down and I just really hope you guys let me do my thing. And like, yeah, you can put stuff in that gives it haste, but if you're spending all of that effort and spots into that, at the end of the day, there are better commanders out there for the most part. I mean, like Tivit's a good example of on ETB and attack swing, he gets his trigger if he connects. So that like it is cool at the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target token you control, but usually the way that you make copies of creatures with tokens, uh, the like really impactful ones, usually in blue. I know we do have offspring, so maybe I'm missing something, but I mean at your end step, you just pop in a token and it's not in red, so it's not going to be a token of a dockside. So
I think the hard part is the color combination, the type of commander it is. How do you not pick Chatterfang.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're wanting to make a squirrel deck and this just speaks to you, great, cool, love the art. A squirrel druid is a really cool concept, but yes, the CDH,
I'll even say that Chatterfang is reprinted in this set.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
A
at the end of the
lot of
day,
cool reprints, yeah.
yeah, just this is not Chatterfang, and Chatterfang may play this, but I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that it would be over Chatterfang.
Yeah, I mean, getting copies of cards printed that go in decks that people like, always cool.
Yeah, for sure.
CDH, nah. All right, Miss Bumbleflower, one generic, green, white, blue. It's Bant, which we don't really have many Bant CDH commanders outside of Derevi. Um, Legendary creature, Rabbit Citizen. Vigilance. When you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. As if this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, you draw 2 cards. Um, I like it. I think this is a deck that has a very high skill ceiling. But I do see a world where Miss Bumbleflower, if somebody knows how to play her and they really build their deck right, they slam Miss Bumbleflower down, and I'm terrified. you know?
If if I lose to Miss Bumbleflower, I am gonna be a very unhappy man. Um,
Anything that's a cast trigger is extremely strong.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. The problem I see with it is that your opponent draws a card, and then if you do two, you get to draw two. So you're giving one to somebody, and then you're getting two, and you get a
Well,
1/1 with a thing.
you're getting 2. So whenever you cast a spell, target player draws a card, and you put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Then you cast another one, target. It happens again.
Okay, so you
Um,
get two counters.
yeah. So
Okay,
I
I
mean,
see.
there's also a world where you can literally, you're like, I can do infinite casts right now. I can mill everybody out. You'll get your entire deck in your hand.
You can't though, right? If it's the second time you draw two, I guess you, I guess you can still do it, but you won't. You'll only draw one time, right?
So if this is the,
Because you don't have a third and fourth.
well, yeah, so you'll only get the 2 cards once. But I could be like, hey, I'm going to present a loop. I can, without gaining any additional mana, loop these 2 creatures over and over again, which with E-Witness is very possible.
Ah,
So you could
okay.
be like, what I can do is E-Witness, cast Lion's Eye Diamond, somehow get E-Witness back from hand. Like you could E-Witness, have a card in hand that does something, returns E-Witness back, so bounces it. Um, on the cast trigger, sack Lion's Eye for 3 green or whatever. Yeah, I really know, but you could say like I'm presenting a loop where I can infinitely cast this combo.
Yeah.
All of you draw until your deck is gone in your hand, and then they're like, okay, well, I'll have spells, and it's like cool.
On top of
On
it,
top of your spells,
keep drawing.
you draw and you lose, and then they're like, well, I can cast one more thing. It's like cool. On top of that, you
Draw.
draw and you lose. Yeah, like
I get it. It's kind of cool. I was looking at it as face value. Like I give you one card, next one I cast, I get two.
yeah, and
Um,
it's whenever you cast a spell. So like clearly, she would just sit in the command zone until you're ready to do that. You're not gonna draw. You're not gonna rush out Miss Bumbleflower.
the
like,
the problem I see though is that that color combination needs a lot of help, and there's not a lot.
well, Bant is scary because Selesnya is insane stacks. Like we see Elvery, which is Selesnya, and then you add counters to it.
Yeah, but is there a CEDH commander right now that's in that color?
Derevi is
I mean,
strong.
I don't see many Derevis in tournament though.
It's the problem is they don't print good Bant legendary creatures. They know Bant is a strong color by itself in a shell.
I mean, it's in colors to have infinite mana. I give you
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like it's and also like the thing that I think is good about it is we saw that otter from the main set where oh no, it's only non-creatures that have flash. I mean, there's ways to give Miss Bumbleflower flash. And
You could give her, you could use Born Upon a Wind.
yeah, while she's on the board, no one can Thassa out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, okay, you're gonna brain freeze, everybody, okay, cool, I'll have all this stuff in my graveyard with flashback, or I have a shuffle titan, so you can't do it to me, and Miss Bumbleflower's out, so I'll if go ahead and try. I'll force you to draw. I mean, also too, it's like you're in Angel's Grace colors where you could just be like, okay, cool. You tried a Thassa combo? Great. Angel's Grace.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it, but I just the colors to me isn't. I feel like they have trouble closing. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
I,
that's not incorrect.
I mean, with this and a Thassa, you could win, I guess, if you have infinite casts.
Well, you only draw 2 cards.
Oh,
It's
that's
target
true.
opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I don't know.
I
Like
mean,
I see it as a good counter, like a good. It's a good stacks ramp counter thing, but I don't see it as is this fast enough?
well, the problem with these colors is it doesn't close, right?
Yeah.
She closes with their entire deck in their hand. But
Yeah.
but if you have flash, which there are 2 cards now that give non-creature spells flash, on top of them saying, "Well, I have my entire deck in my hand," you can go, "Okay, you draw," and then they're like, "Well, what I can do is I can Swords Miss Bumbleflower." Cool, and then you draw, and then that would fall off because you're out of the game. They're like, "Well, I can do this," and then I'm like, "All right," but then you draw.
Yeah.
Like
I mean I get it. It's a
yeah,
win con in the command zone. I don't think that it gets enough of the aggressive support as like
it's a stacks deck.
Grixis
Yeah,
or
this is a
Esper.
you hope for a deafening silence. Well, no, because you want to be able to rotate out. Like it's definitely a stacks deck. This is not you're not gonna turbo Miss Mumbleflower where everybody draws their deck out. Like
I mean I see it. Maybe I'm missing it a little bit.
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of green. I've never been. However, I mean, this is more of your expertise. I'll take your judgment on it. I do think that it's solid. I mean, the fact that you can do it at instant speed,
hmm
the draw thing is. I mean, we've seen that in other stuff. Like I'll play on top of it. What was it? The World Gorger combo I've seen. Not World Gorger. Man, what is that? What is that dragon? Scion of the Ur Dragon. Because once it comes out,
oh yeah, and then you just ping everybody
you just
down
go
to
with
death.
it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same thing where it's at instant speed, and you can use the stack to play on top of it.
yeah, but for so Niv Mizzet, well that deck, which wins off Niv Mizzet is red blue, so it's not 3 colors, and also it's only instant or sorceries. And Miss Bumbleflower is you cast any spell, so it's a little. I feel like the window's open for this one because I feel like it has a really good way to close, and it's a very sticky close where it's like I really don't care that you have your entire deck, unless you split second. I'm winning right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's done.
Yeah,
And the split seconds aren't played as much.
yeah.
It's
Legolas is really the only one in Angel's Grace, and even Angel's Grace kind of became a. I don't want to have a card in my deck that just gets me a tie. I would rather that card be something that pushes me towards a win.
they came out with a split second kill card. Isn't it in
In black,
it was in Fallout, huh?
it's 4 though.
I mean, it's not run, but
Yeah.
I,
I've seen it in Crick. It's bats.
ish,
Yeah.
yeah, ish. I feel like, and again, I'm just hating on the colors. Is
Yeah.
pretty much what it is,
Yeah.
and I don't understand them as well.
It's silence, counters, and then green utility for uncounterable. And then whenever you see white green, most of the time it's going to be stacks like Rocco. I mean, clearly you don't want to roll law effects in this one because looping is
That's
where you
what you're
go.
doing, yeah.
I mean, like uh, Derevi, I don't. We don't see it very much, but it does win. Like Comedian won very recently with Derevi, and again, Comedian won with it. But
Derevi is strong.
yeah,
I give it to you
yeah,
that Derevi is strong. I just, if you had a choice of this and Derevi, I mean, Derevi is try like tried and true. Like it has wins under its belt. Whereas this one is new, and I think that if you figure out the way to make it efficient,
mm,
that it's gonna take a lot of people by surprise.
yeah. I mean, like, what do you do when someone draws your entire deck and then you're like, well, I have my deck, I can do stuff, and you're like,
Cool, do
cool,
it.
do it. It's my turn, so it all has to be instant speed. Really, the only thing that you could do is play a split second, and I'm not going to tell you that in a tournament, but like it would be one of those things where it's just like everything that you've put on the stack, I make you draw on top of it, and it all falls off when you lose. So
Well,
try it,
even in the split seconds, like what split second would stop it? There's not one.
Split second kill.
I mean, that's the only
Yeah,
one.
yeah. That's Angel's Grace.
Angel's Grace would still kill you
You
because
can't lose the game.
yeah, cool. You kill everybody else, and then you have all of your cards, and I pass.
Oh, that's
It,
true. Because they would have to win on their upkeep.
yeah,
It's
and that's if you don't cast anything to make them draw on their
yeah,
upkeep.
like the way it could win seems very sticky and very scary,
Oh, it's
and that's why
oh
like
yeah. I mean, this is a fear that we had whenever we had started playing into high power
mhm.
with Scion of the Ur Dragon
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it was really hard to interact with.
yeah. Well, the thing that we, and this was back when we were playing more high casual, it was, we know that there is a blue card that ends the person's turn and the stack falls off, and that's really all we can do. Yeah,
Yeah.
and even that was like, it was more just don't let them do the thing. But I mean, if you're in green, white, and blue, like you're silencing your Veil of Autumn, your Veil of Summer, you have counter spells, you have free counter spells. Like,
My argument with this though is our method to kind of battling the Scion on the stack play where I'm just gonna play on good. You countered, cool. I'm gonna do this on
mm,
or you're trying to kill him, cool. I'll just do this. Is we win faster
yeah, yeah,
and it has the stacks,
yeah,
but stacks don't seem to hold in tournament, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah,
And I agree that that's a problem.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
is it
It's
scary? I would be if I lost to this, I would be scared of this for a long time.
yeah,
I'd be like, I don't know what to do.
yeah. It'd be like they made me draw my entire deck, and then I tried to stop them, and they just made me draw once on top of it, and it all fall
Yeah,
off.
I don't know what to do.
Like they countered off my stuff by killing me. Like
I mean, maybe if you had all of my cards in my hand, I could Angel's Grace and then try to Thassa out with a Born Upon a Wind.
and then I make you draw, and then you die.
Well, not with Angel's Grace because
Oh yeah, that's true.
it,
Because if you would lose the game,
I can't. You
you
can't,
can't lose.
and you can't win, so you can't make me draw it.
That's true.
I mean, it's a
No one runs
play.
it though. Yeah,
My whole thing is if it's all in your hand, the chances of it.
yeah,
I I don't. Would you think of that in that moment? I have no idea because that's a lot.
yeah. And the other, you have to find a way to flash Thosses out in that interact. Which I mean, if you have your entire deck,
Born
yeah,
is my thought. Like you cast Born and just try to play on top of it, but it's you would have to have them resolve, and
yeah.
you could do it on.
she's in silence colors too though. Like green and white silence the game really good where it's just like you just can't do anything.
You know what? I don't even think that would do it because I think that you could argue with the judge that since we're at this point, I'm going to continually make them draw, and it doesn't matter. It's a game action. They just can't draw. Could you do that to where it would just draw the game so that they
No.
couldn't win?
You can't present a continuous loop where you're not advancing the game anymore. Like you could be like, I can put triggers on the stack that make them draw, and then the judge would be like, but you clearly see that they don't have a deck, so
I get it.
you're not going to go to time like that. That's it. It depends. I do see the argument because like there's the same argument with the World Gorger Dragon combo. Where it's like, okay, infinitely we're stuck in this loop. It's like, yeah, but you can target something different, like.
No, that the World Gorger is you cannot target something else.
Well, when you cannot, yes, it is a
That's a hard
it's
lock.
a hard lock, but this is not a hard lock because you have the
I have a
choice.
choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
That's my call. I'm not a judge by any means.
I think the fact that it's that complicated,
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah,
Yeah, this is a scary card.
yeah. I would like to know how to do that. I don't know how to, but I mean, also it's like a lot of it. It's like win faster. It's like, well, really, the way that people win faster is Thassa's Oracle. So
Good job.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if I feel like somebody's gonna win, I'm just like, I really don't want to put Miss Bumbleflower out, but I feel like I'm going to lose, so I'll put her out, and then no one can win.
I think that this is a funny card. I will say that if you go and you win a tournament with this, give us a deck list
Yeah,
because my God, this
I
is an interesting one.
I will build this. I will. I would love to roll in with Miss Bumbleflower
It's
and
it's a cute little
yeah,
bunny
yeah.
like
A,
holding some muffins or
a
something.
group hug deck and then kill everybody.
That's awesome.
All right, next one. Zenia Valley's Voice, blue, red, white. Legendary creature, bird bard. Flying, Zenia's Voice gets X plus O, where X is the number of other creatures you control with base power 1. Creatures, creature spells you cast have offspring 2. You may pay an additional 2 as you cast the creature spell. If you do, when that creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. This is Dockside for 4, and I get 2 Dockside
Double.
triggers. Yeah.
And
Uh,
you could Delany
yeah.
Delny.
Thassa's for 4. I get 2 Thassa triggers, which doesn't help too much because it's still Scry 2 wins.
You
Scry 2 win.
you don't have the support of black to really make Thassa's uber scary.
Yeah, yeah.
However, I mean maybe I'm missing something and you could exile your deck in another way. But
We have a friend that's really into this. He plays Winota, and he's just like, I would like to go to a blue but stay in Boros where he likes creature combos. And he's been brewing this. It is kind of crazy to have a Cloudstone Curio and know that you can cast Dockside for 4 and get 2 triggers. Like it's crazy to have Delaney out there and be like, I pay 4 and I get 4 Dockside triggers. It's red white, so it's a meal combo. Like it's I mean red white Dockside a meal with counters. It just got this same problem. It's slow.
yeah, it's a weird combo. Like
Yeah.
I feel I really wish, you know, America colors would be great. I don't know. I mean, the only one I had that was kind of fun to play was Zedu.
Yeah, that's never gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, it was uber casual. Everybody hated it because it was all stacksy and weird. But I don't see this being. I mean, if you have 2 dockside triggers,
You took our cards. That's why we hated it. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Your cruddy stuff, saying it nicely, was our stuff. You gave gifts where you would you would take my diamond ring and then give me like the decoder ring and the cereal package. That was broken.
I enjoyed having your ring.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cherished it.
That's why we didn't like it. But yes, continue.
I feel like if you're gonna have a dockside, and let's say you have dockside Delaney,
Mm.
you get, what is that, 4 triggers then?
Yeah, four for four.
I mean, normally you would win with, I win with one dockside
Yeah.
sometimes.
I mean,
My
with Delaney, usually if Delaney and Dockside come down, it's
it's game.
game. Now you have Delaney in the command zone with two other colors that also lets you play Dockside. It's good. Also, like, let's say you're like, I can continually bring Dockside back and cast it for its offspring cost. I've done this 20 times, and they're like, cool. Uh, I'll silence you. Then you're like, cool. We'll have a 21 power legendary creature with flying. Move to combat. Like, who cast that silence? You did.
You're dead.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I can't cast on creature spells, but Dockside, I swing at you, pass. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting. Do do I think that this I don't really know if this would be good in the 99, but it's interesting as a commander. I don't see it being CEDH viable.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeskai is really hard to.
the problem is Jeskai falls behind pretty quickly. You don't really have mana dorks and stuff like that. And then we always talk about Dockside like it's an inevitability. It's gonna come out, and that's because I play green and then you play black, and neither of these colors are there. So it's you have to hope to draw into Dockside
Or gamble. Like there's
or
that's it.
gamble, or you could also Imperial Recruiter for it.
I
But like
guess.
you don't have cards that are whatever I need right now. Every creature in at my deck is at my disposal, or
Yeah,
any card in my deck I can go get.
the tutors are limited, and I think that red tutors are usually have a pretty big downside.
I mean, you do have intuition as an option, but
I
yeah,
guess.
I see it. I definitely see it. It's more is the deck strong? The answer clearly is yes. Is the deck consistent? Is what matters, because that's what you're trying to do is consistently win in a tournament. You need to be able to consistently go, I can close the game in 3 or 4 turns. Just and I don't know if this deck has that, and that's the only problem with it.
Again, this is our CEDH mindset. Maybe it's different in maybe I don't know if this would be in a pre-release thing.
This is a tournament CDH podcast. So yeah.
Well, what
Yeah.
I'm saying is we give a lot of what we would see at some of our tournaments we play. I don't see this in a tournament. This will never be in a tournament.
Yeah, we're hard on the cards definitely because we're like, is the CDH viable? Because that is what the podcast is about. If you see this and you're just like, I am thrilled about it, good, great, love that. Please build it. If you're, I also if you're like, I'm thrilled about this. This is a tournament deck. I can make it consistent. I'm a good deck
Put it in the
builder.
comments.
Great, do it.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I think that it would be interesting seeing, you know, these colors go into higher play with a new commander. That would be great.
Mhm.
I don't see this one being it though.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next card. So this is the secondary commander of the Jeskai color. So Arthur, Marigold Knight. 2 generic, blue, red, white. Legendary creature, Mouse Knight. Haste. Whenever Arthur, Marigold Knight, and at least one other creature attack, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Return that creature to its owner's hand at the end of combat. It's a 4/5. So have you ever played Winota and went, man, I really wish that this only happened once, and then at the end of combat, it went back to my hand? That's what this is.
Weird dockside loop. I mean, you could block it, but
Yeah, I go to combat though.
I mean, yeah, but it gets put onto the battlefield,
So, well, it's not a loop then, because it's go to combat,
and then it goes back to
and
hand.
then it goes back, and then you play it again. So it's
Yeah,
play it twice.
yeah, it's sneaky way to drop
Yeah,
dockside, possible get it back in hand to play it again.
which I mean, there is aggravated assault. I think if you can pay 5, you get another combat. But I mean, a dockside loop that requires at least 7 mana, and then someone could just kill and block dockside. Like meh.
I mean, yeah, but you could also, if a player doesn't have any creatures on field, so let's say player one has creatures, player two doesn't, I can loop dockside to a point that's kind of crazy.
You'd get 5 combats maximum before you killed them.
Still, if you're
Yeah,
looping it for 5 treasures,
yeah.
that's 20
Which
treasures.
that's but you're having to pay. Aggravated assault is the best way to get additional combats, and you have to pay 7 every time. So you'd have to
Okay, so
dockside
it'd have to be docked pretty high.
for 8,
Yeah.
and then you would net 5 treasures at the end of
Uh, I mean, yeah, I think that it's interesting. I think that it's 5 mana for kind of a lackluster move. I think that it's not as good as the other one. So I think the original might be the better one.
Oh, for sure. Like
This is
this is bad Winota.
this may not even go in the 99. It might be taken out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I I don't see from a CDH standpoint. Again, not if you see this card and you're just like, I think this is the cutest thing ever. I agree. It is the cutest thing ever. I'm not gonna spend my time and money in a tournament entering it though. Like.
What is he riding, or is he riding anything? I feel
Uh,
like it's riding a beetle, but I'm not sure.
it's a marigold knight. So that's a. It looks like it's a piece of bark
Oh, okay.
that has like pieces of flowers on it, but I mean, you're right. It looks like it has 4 legs and it's galloping.
Um,
I guess they were like, "Hey, we want a knight, but it needs to ride a horse." And then that person was, "But they're tiny and they can't get on a horse." And then they were like, "Figure it the f out." And they were like, it's a vine that's alive. I don't know."
it's a marigold. We'll make it happen.
I'm sorry.
I think, yeah, I think the art's good. I think that and maybe I'm missing a whole lot on this card. I just feel like if it's the secondary commander, I'm not trading this one out. And there has been decks that are precons that I would say the secondary commander is it.
Yeah, I mean,
This isn't it.
like we were kind of saying before, I feel like the secondary commander is always the one that's more tuned for CDH. I don't get this one, and,
Yeah.
and like because I don't get it doesn't mean that's bad. I just don't get it. I just can't look at this and go, "This is better than Winota," because it's not.
No, I think that this might be taken out of whatever this is going.
Yeah. All right. Next one. This is Mr. Foxglove. There's Miss Bumblebee, whatever, Bumbleberry. I don't remember. There's the cute bunny, and I canonically, I'm gonna say it right now. This is her husband, Mr. Foxglove. They're in
you
love.
you heard it first.
Yeah, they're in love. It's a bunny and a fox. Despite all odds, they
When,
they do love each other. Everybody looks at them and they're like, "This is
it
not
sounds
an appropriate match." And they've been tried for war crimes and they've had to move a couple times. But
this sounds like a Disney movie.
yeah, I mean, this is Zootopia at the end of the day. It is Zootopia because there's a fox and a rabbit.
Yeah, I was like, this is you're explaining almost the plot. A
Okay,
very
so, yeah,
twisted plot,
yeah.
but it's there. um,
So less genocide in Zootopia. Clearly, there was some, Mr. Foxglove. I'm supposed to be reading these cards and talking. And I'm just like, let me tell you, the entire thing is
this
Zootopia. I haven't seen the movie in 2 years, so I'm gonna make this up as I go.
this is my take on why there's a
Yeah,
Mister and
yeah.
Miss.
Actually, just let's stop the podcast. This is the
this
Zootopia podcast now. No,
There was some drama in their teens.
yeah.
No,
I didn't take my medication today. That's what. Mr. Foxglove, two generic green, white, blue. So Bant, legendary creature, Fox Rogue. Lifelink, when Mr. Foxglove attacks, draw cards equal to the number of cards in defending player's hand minus the number of cards in your hand. If you didn't draw cards this way, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield.
see, to me, this is better than Miss Bumbleberry.
No,
But I
that's
mean,
wrong.
again, I don't really
So the
get
reason
these colors.
it's wrong is it's an attack trigger. So he's 5. He comes out and you pass. There's not really, outside of lightning greaves and stuff like that, there's not a way to give him haste in these colors. That's my only complaint.
You can give him haste.
With what?
Concordant Crossroads. He's green.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, like I got you guys that was screaming at this.
Well,
Screaming at this. There's Concordant Crossroads. I mean, maybe it's not as
it's a one drop enchantment that is gonna get countered. And yeah, I mean, you're in silence colors, and you know everything I said about Miss Butterberry. I forgot her name. Miss Buttercup, I guess. I don't know. That's her name now. Um, Everything else is true, but this is 1 mana higher, and it's an attack trigger.
I'm gonna draw a bunch of cards, which is what you want to do normally,
Does it close the game?
and then you can drop. Let's say you don't. Let's say I don't draw a card, but I've got stupid big creatures in green. Let me drop out. What is the one that triples my mana?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, so whenever I see green, white, and put a creature on the battlefield for free, I immediately think Hulk combo. Which, I mean, combo decks like that, a big problem of them is if you ever draw your combo piece, that match is pretty much dead. You have backup wins, but you're not really gonna win anymore. You can kind of count that as a loss, and if you get a draw, great. You know, like
I'm with you. Do I think that this is truly better in CEDH? No. Do I think that this, to me, makes more sense than the other one? A little bit.
no, it's no Miss Butterbeer,
It was,
Miss Rumbleberry. No, it's not.
they're supposed to be a team here, though. You know, they're together.
They can be together. If I get 2 Miss Butterbeers, they can be together in my bulk rares. I'll put them right next to each other. They're the same colors.
I agree. It's not super good. I don't think you're gonna see a commander deck with this in it. Well, a commander deck with this at the helm.
Yeah.
Do I think that this is interesting? I think you could do some sly fox things with it. But he is a fox rogue, so
Yeah, I mean, like everything that I said about Miss Bumblebee Butter or whatever.
bumblebee tuna.
Like, let's say you go, all right, I'm gonna make you draw your deck. It's in your hand. Cool. I'm gonna move to combat. Can you swords, Mr. Foxglove? Dang it. Pass. Like, you know, like
That's funny.
like it doesn't have it came out and the game can potentially be over because Mr. Foxglove came out. You know, like that's what I want to see. I want to see when I look at a commander, and this is not fair, but when I look at a commander, I want to go, I can literally cast this and then the game can be over this turn because I cast my commander. And you know, is that what Blue Farm is? No, absolutely not.
I mean,
But you know,
I feel like this creature, you don't really care about drawing cards equal to the minus. That's not really what I would. I mean, is it good? Yes. Uh, I don't see that. You're in colors where you can run, you know, Mystic, Ristic,
Yeah,
Sylvan.
but you want to keep your hand low. So like Mr. Foxglove is, I put such giant things in my deck that I want to get them out for free. Or I run such low CMC that my hand is constantly empty, and every time
I
I go
swing,
to
yeah.
attack, I redraw,
Yeah.
which the deck wants to do two different things that don't work with each other.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting. I do think that in these colors, there's better options to draw. Like what I said, Ristic, Mystic, Sylvan.
Mm-hmm.
With you should use Miss Buttercup. I
Yeah.
think if that's the case.
Yeah. I like it's cool. If it was just green, white, blue, I would be like, this is a great value commander because it's literally, I dump my hand, I move to combat, I attack, I make sure that the person that's defending has something that, like the person that's defending has the most cards. I draw 10, on attack trigger. I don't even care if he gets killed because it's an attack trigger. That's not really the case with him. Yeah, I just eh.
I mean, there's some big creatures though. My thing is like
But
in
but
a world here, and hear me out. In a world here, you can run Hullbreaker Horror.
mm-hmm.
You swing, drop Hullbreaker Horror. You know what I mean? Like I see where this could be used in some really weird stuff. Um, is it an end all be all? Will it be in the top 16 of a tournament? I don't see that.
The yeah, I mean, like, I think we're on the same page here. Like, end of the day, not gonna be a tournament commander. Probably not even gonna hit CDH. Um, the thing, as somebody that plays like a creature combo deck, is Mr. Foxglove um wants to draw Hulk for free, really, at the end of the day. But in order to get Hulk, you have to draw. And then when you draw, you ruin your Hulk combo. And I mean, there is a world where it's, you know, maybe you have to ferry out and you're doing a bunch of extra turn spells and you're just trying to drop Kitten out for free. But then your plan is ruined if anybody can kill him, which he's a 3/5. So, pretty hard to kill a 3/5 with one creature, but
I
yeah,
mean,
like,
swords exist though. There's
yeah,
there's things that happen.
it's
Rollick exists.
it's not sticky
Swords.
enough. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
yeah,
I agree.
it's no Tivit.
I do think that it's interesting though.
Yeah, cool. I like it. All right, the Odd Acorn Gang,
This is
3 generic. Yeah,
this is cool.
yeah,
I
three,
I like the picture. Let's go.
three. He's not smoking, is he? The one on the left?
I'm not sure, but I want to say he is. He's
No, he's chewing. I had to like literally put my face to the screen. He's chewing a piece of pine, and then in the background there's a little wisp. I thought from a distance it looks like he's smoking a cigar. Like, so the Odd Acorn Gang, 3 generic, black, green, legendary creature, Squirrel Warrior, menace, trample, reach. Squirrels you control have tap, target squirrel gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. When one or more squirrels you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card.
so first off, this is in the same colors as Chatterfang. This
Mm-hmm.
is way better than the other one.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't remember what the other one's name is.
Uh, Mrs. Buttercup.
It's not that bunny. I do think that um, as commander, run Chatterfang. This is one of the 99. This is a strong card.
I don't understand why that activate only as a sorcery is added on the squirrels. Like honestly, if you have a bunch of squirrels and then you move to combat, attack, and then on the block trigger, you just go, oh, okay, cool. I didn't attack with these squirrels, they're not tapped. Boom, I have a big squirrel. GG commander damage for 21. Like I don't see that being a problem.
It's
Maybe I'm missing something. I mean, they design cards for a living, they know better, but the activate as a sorcery really kills this because it's
I think it's the draw a card if squirrels you know when one or more squirrels deal damage to a player, draw a card. It's only one card, which I initially thought it was going to be per squirrel.
yeah,
Um,
and it's per player, so it's like Timna. You could draw 3 if you deal combat damage with 3 squirrels to
and,
3 people.
and you're if you're in a squirrel deck and you're not swarming,
Yeah,
you're doing you're doing things wrong.
yeah. I just so anything that is a buff that is activate only as a sorcery is just bad. Because it's okay. Well, I have a bunch of squirrels. I'm gonna tap them in my main phase because that's when I have to do it.
Yeah,
And now I'm gonna move to combat. Oh, you sorts! Dang it! Like
and maybe it's just a pet card that I'm looking at and I like how it looks and want
yeah,
it to
yeah,
work, which is very valid because this is like squirrel archers and it looks like a squirrel ninja and then maybe a squirrel mage all kind of walking on a tree.
yeah.
Um, at the end of the day, I think that this wouldn't be a commander as far as in CEDH anywhere. This would be a 99 at best, and I'm pretty sure that Chatterfang is pretty tuned for like the top notch Chatterfangs, and I don't know if this would be in it.
Okay, hear me out. 4 friends get together. There are 4 different Golgari squirrel commanders in a hat, and everybody draws one. And the challenge is in a month, you have a budget of $100.
That's
In a month,
I'm gonna let you finish.
we're all going to make a silly squirrel deck where we each have a different Golgari squirrel commander chosen at random. We all wear squirrel masks, cheap Halloween squirrel masks, and we all drink special sodas. That sounds like a great night.
It does, but I think the $100 limit is not gonna work for Chatterfang. Well, and I
Chatterfang would not be in there.
well,
It
what
would
I'm
be
saying is
some of this stuff here.
uh, maybe with the set you could build a full squirrel deck.
This is for fun, not to win.
Uh, I get it.
This is not a CDH night where like,
Oh, you're just throwing squirrels around.
it's literally like. But does that sound like a blast? Like, just there are enough Golgari squirrel commanders where you and your friends could go. We want we play a lot. How about we all make a Golgari squirrel commander, each different, and we all just go nuts. Literally go nuts with squirrels. Does that sound like a really fun night? Does that sound like a fun night if and this is a family podcast, special sodas are involved?
I think that that's a new format we're going to build right now.
Yeah. Yeah. This is no longer the CDH podcast. This is the Golgari Squirrel cheap EDH Golgari GSC EDH.
We're we're rebranding right now.
Yeah.
Welcome to Holding Priority. This is our squirrel podcast
Well,
where we go nuts every time.
Holding your nuts priority because we're squirrels. It's
Holding priority
acorns, yeah.
on the acorns, so to speak. Family
Yeah.
friendly.
Well, anyway, this card sucks, but it's a lot of fun, so that's why I like
Here we go to the next one.
All right, and this is the secondary commander for the Gruul set. Wild Seer, Scouring Maw, 3 generic red green legendary creature elemental wolf, trample. Enchantment spells you cast from your hand have Cascade, 6/6.
This is bad. And it's not bad in a It's bad.
Meh.
And the reason it's bad is its color combination. Most great enchantments and stuff is not in these colors.
I mean, Cascade is extremely strong,
It I
but
agree.
it's there. If you want to Cascade, there's very good. The Maelstrom Commander does it, and it's in Temir, so you have counters.
Can can you off top, other than maybe some of the curses, can you think of enchantments that would be worth cascading in these colors?
So the thing about Cascade, you're not really wanting to cast big things. So you're wanting to cast like what is that Lotus Field? I always forget the name. That green enchantment that I'm kind of always, however many islands your opponents have, you get that much of one color. I'm like blanking on that. Let me look it up.
I I
But
feel like this is one of those cards that, I mean, if this was blue white, my God. But this doesn't, I mean, I don't think this does it. I think that it's the colors that are holding this back. And maybe there's a person out there that's like, this crazy wolf elemental is going to be super broke. Cool. I get it. It's an awesome looking card. I think for 5 though, it doesn't do anything initially, and you're going to have to cast something after it, and you're just not.
Carpet of Flowers. So I kept thinking Lotus. Yeah. I so the problem with this is it's not low to the ground. If it was cheaper, I would definitely be arguing for it because I mean, what you would do
I,
basically is you would play a Carpet of Flowers. The only other oh wait no, because it's not just enchantments.
no, you would cascade into creatures and things, which is okay,
I,
but
I mean there's
me
so you play a
you're in green red though. Like, what do you do?
well you so hear me out. You play Carpet of Flowers. It's a one cost.
Okay.
You cascade into that costs a non-land card that costs less. So you play Carpet of Flowers. You cascade into your zero rock. So when you play Carpet of Flowers, you immediately get a free zero rock.
Okay.
But it's 5, and that's the problem.
I mean, even if it was 2, I don't see this being awesome at 2.
I at 2 I would like again no way to close in red green that I know of. So correct. However, I would figure it out if I could play a like the green enchantments that go on forests and stuff like that. If I could play that and get a mana crypt out of it for free, all the way from my deck, like
Yeah, I mean, cool,
or a
but
lotus petal or yeah.
my issue is you're saying low to the ground. I don't see that many enchantments that are enough to really play that way. And then if you're going to go into higher enchantments, I mean, it's not in good enchantment colors. It's just not. Like, it's enchantment spells only have Cascade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at best that I can think of right now is maybe the ley line. That's 4. You know,
The ley line you want it to be free though.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have in red maybe some curses. I
Uh,
I just don't I don't see it.
I mean the things that I always think about it with red enchantments are all of the your non-creature spells that deal damage, deal +1 more. You can like I get where you're coming from. The fact that you can play those things and then just go whatever's coming out I get value. And my deck is probably going to be entirely permanents if I'm playing Wild Seer. Is it a Tali? No. So like at the end of the day, it's not a CDH commander. Period.
Yeah,
It's bad. You're
I,
right.
I don't even
But
see it
yeah,
as I don't even see it as the 99.
yeah,
This is one of those cards that maybe if it was 2,
Yeah, in a hypothetical world where this is 2 and you play a Carpet of Flowers and you get a 0 cost rock, good.
You're talking 3 to Cascade
Yeah.
for a 0 in that world.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
this
This
is
is 5.
6
Yeah.
because you would have to pay the 5,
Oh, and then pay the
play
green.
carpet.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you're using carpet, you're not waiting to
Yeah.
use carpet. You're gonna play carpet to
Yeah,
use that.
carpet was just like the first one because there's the other ones that are one that go on a forest, but like
I guess
yeah,
those.
you're right. This is bad. You know, like
Does it look cool? I
yeah,
think that it looks awesome.
yeah,
This is probably one of the cooler looking arts I've seen out of these, other than the squirrels, because the squirrels were awesome.
yeah.
But
It's I mean, never mind. I was about to be like dressed down. Oh wait, Underworld Breach. You'd have Cascade on Underworld Breach.
I mean, cool. Maybe you could go for a lion's eye.
Yeah, you'd have to build your deck where Underworld Breach is the only you only have Underworld Breach and everything else in your deck. You you could never have a 1 drop or a 0 drop. So you would have no mana crypt, you would have no, and if you drew Lion's Eye, it'd be dead.
Yeah, I mean, even then, it's like I don't. How would you close with that? Like this,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
commander, this is really hard to maneuver. I don't see this one at
Yeah.
all ever. I think that this is something that somebody looked at and was like, let's make a fire wolf.
Yeah.
We're gonna make him red green.
Let
Cool.
slap 5 mana on it so it never sees the light of day. Cool. Let's move on.
Yeah,
Like, that was the design process.
this one frustrates me. Let's go to the next card.
Yeah, there's already a commander that's I think 7. That's the Maelstrom commander that people that used to play it really like it. I don't really see it in CDH anymore, but it is a very strong deck when it starts going.
Isn't one of the 40K commanders
Oh,
Cascade?
yeah,
That
he's black, blue, red though, and it's like if you're in Rograth colors, meh.
I mean,
Yeah, it's when you deal combat damage, the next spell you cost has Cascade, I think, or something. Yeah,
I'm not big on this one.
yeah. Cascade is honestly it's a dead uh like keyword in CDH.
If you're watching this and you're like, you guys are just missing the mark, put it in the comments because
Yeah,
this one right here, I don't see.
same. All right, this is the one I have been waiting for. I'm
Oh,
excited. Um,
oh man.
in my opinion, this is the most busted card that has been printed this year. Maybe last year.
Okay, I'll read the name and then you can go ahead with the
Yeah.
rest of it. This is Ribbit Study.
No, this is Ristic Ribbit. Uh, we are going to have a poll on our Twitter. It's holding priority on Twitter. What nickname this gets? Because Esper Sentinel is Ristic Buddy. This is Polywog Prodigy, 1 generic blue creature frog wizard. It has evolve. When a creature you control enters, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell with mana value less than Polywog Prodigy's power, draw a card. Um, just really to lead off with why I think this is good, and I've been telling people this is good for a while, and I've really felt like this is what sticks. Now with Polywog Prodigy, you have a third card you want to see in your opening hand that if you can cast it, turn 1, seat 1, you know you're drawing a card off almost every person. So what happens is Polywog Prodigy in your opening hand, you have 2 mana somehow, some way, which is
A
very
rock,
doable.
a
Yeah.
rock in a underground sea.
Yeah. You cast Polywog Prodigy and you pass. Any 0 rock is draw card. It's not pay 1, it's not pay 4. It's when you cast a non-creature spell that costs 0, draw a card. I am definitely going to follow up Polywog Prodigy with something that gives it a 1/1 counter on my turn. Now on turn 2, I have a 2/4. If you cast a 1 cost, I draw a card. It's crazy. Like,
I'm gonna take over just a tad here. This is putting me in a world, like you said, where this is turn one. Let's say I have this and a Mystic Remora. Like
hmm I'll cast this.
I or both.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I cast this turn one with a rock and a land. Next turn, I drop a land, cast Timna. It goes
hmm
up by one.
Yeah.
I swing with it because it's a 2/3.
hmm
Oh, two
2/4.
four.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what?
And we were trying to sell this to a friend that runs the partner Thrasios, which is common, you know. This evolves off Thrasios because Thrasios is a 1/4. This evolves off Kinnan because Kinnan's a 2/2.
Let
Like,
I'm gonna make somebody real happy talking about this. But let's say you play, I don't know, a partner commander sushi, which is
Thrasios and Tevish.
and Tevish Zot. You go with your combo where you it's not really a combo, but you have Tevish Zot. You had cast Polywog before. Then you put uh Thrasios and cast it. Thrasios is gonna cause this to
Evolve, yeah. Because
evolve
it's 4 toughness.
until the power is above 4,
Mm-mm.
right?
It
Whenever
has greater power or toughness than this creature. So
oh,
it compares
so it's
both.
okay. So
So
it's
the
both at
moment
the
a
same
1/1
time.
counter goes on it, it now has 4 toughness. So it won't evolve again.
Well, then how would it even evolve with Timna?
Yeah, because Timna's a 2/2. So because its power is 1 and Timna's power is 2, it
Oh,
evolves.
or okay,
Yeah.
I get it. Okay,
It's
I get it
very
now.
flexible, but once you meet that number, it stops. So you would have to do something. So when it evolves, it becomes a 2/4. You now have to cast something that has 3 power or 5 toughness, which is very doable.
I could see that, and if you're in green like sushi is, you could have what is it, Manglehorn or something.
Yeah,
There's
I
different
mean,
things that can be put out.
I believe every turn, I believe every commander in CDH will evolve this thing in blue. I can't think of a CEDH commander that doesn't have at least 2 power or 4 toughness.
To me, this is a card that in blue farm, and hear me out. I'm gonna cast this turn one, like you said. I'm gonna cast my Timna, evolve this.
Yeah.
Then I'll have any one drop and under is draw a card.
Yeah. So every 1 cost counter you try to stop me with, I draw a card off of. Like,
And then also, let's say I cast Crom. Now it evolves again.
mm-hmm.
Now I'm good with two and under.
Yeah.
It's like Italian
Mm-hmm.
normally.
It's better than Italian. You don't do the pings, but I mean also you can run this Italian. There is it's it's also yeah, it's just good. Like you can I'm not going to oversell it because in Italian, what happens is a trigger goes on the stack, and a lot of people, if they have crazed maniac or the guy that when you draw and there's nothing in your library, you win the game.
Laboratory.
Yeah, laboratory maniac. The trigger will go on the stack, and they'll just be like, "Demont consultation, I win. Taint pact, I win." You know, like this is a card that draw triggers go on the stack, and you could do that in blue. I mean, you already could do that in blue farm, but I mean this is hard to counter. It's a creature. It comes out for the most part. It's happening. It's a lot easier to remove a creature than it is to remove a enchantment. Like if you blasphemous act the entire field, this definitely goes away. You can swords it, you know.
Also waste it on that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm cool with that.
It's
This is a card that cool. kill it, counter it. I don't care.
In Krakashima, it's a wizard, so it would trigger twice, and you draw two every time. Like
And it would evolve with Croc, right? I think Croc's a 2/2.
yep,
And then Shakashima
is a 2/2 when it enters.
as it enters.
Mm.
I guess.
Because it enters as a copy.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other things too. Like I think Stormkin Artist is a 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would evolve there. I think getting it to 2 is going to be easy. I think
Yeah.
3 is going to be a little bit harder.
I think you're routinely going to get it to 2, where 0 and 1 cost spells always draw it, but it's like, okay, well, somebody's gonna try to play Jeweled Lotus and they're gonna loop it. You're like, oh hey, I want to get rid of this now. Let me play swords. Okay, well I get to draw before it goes away. The only downside I see to Polywog Prodigy is it's not you may draw a card, it is draw a card. So it is something that if you're gonna attempt a Thassa line, you will have to get rid of.
I mean, there's already that though.
So
I mean,
someone's gonna get rid of it for you though. Honestly, like
or you just
answer.
wait until
Yeah.
until it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still in Blue Farm, you could still just go Underworld Breach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to breach line your entire deck. You could breach line somebody else's.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, with Blue Farm, there's always the option of I mill you guys completely out. None of you have a Shuffle Titan. All right, pass, draw, die, draw, die, draw, die. Cool.
this here is gonna see CEDH play. I think.
Oh, 100%. It goes into so many. This does what CDH wants to do. It does it better than Fairy Mastermind. It does it better than Ledger Shredder. I will say that the draw card is tough. I mean, really, the counter to this is okay. Well, you have to draw a card, so I know while it's out, you're not going to Thassa combo. So anytime I see that Polywog Prodigy is out, I know you're not ready to Thassa combo.
Or you silence your turn.
Yeah.
I mean,
true.
At the end of the day, like Blue Farm is resilient, and I mean, I'll silence my turn or abolish same effect.
Yeah.
And then just go with it that way. Or you could consultate. Well, consultation wouldn't be it, but Tainted Pack down to
1.
three cards because you would have Thassa, which is 2, and Polywog, which is 1. And then if you counter it, I mean not counter it, if you kill Thassa on ETB, you're still looking at 2 cards, which is safe. Yeah. You could do something to make that happen.
I mean, it's great. It goes in everything.
I think Ribbit Study is going to be all over everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, also too, it's like let's say somebody is like, I figured it out. Blue Farm, Italian, whatever needs this removed. So I know that while this is out, they can't Thassa line. And what we should do is we should all ignore it and let them remove it. And then the Blue Farm player is just like, excellent. I get to draw a lot more. Like, okay.
Yeah, there's no downside.
Let me draw into a silence and then I'll do it. And anyway, I probably should wait till I draw into a silence anyway.
I see this is good.
Yeah.
This is a good card. I think that it'll be, I don't know if it'll be priced high coming out. I really don't. Price is kind of weird with Magic cards on how certain cards are more expensive.
Yeah, it'll be it won't be a dockside. Like it'll be, I think their Commander's a much bigger format, so they're overprinting the precons. And also you can pull this in packs in the Commander slot that's in packs. It will be a lot rarer than Ledger Shredder, and Ledger Shredder is a pretty pricey card, so maybe I could see it going to 15. I could see it being so overprinted 2. I could see it being so overprinted it's 2, and then 6 months, 3 months later, when people really go, "Oh, this is great," it goes back up to 15.
Yeah, I could see it both ways. I
It's
do think I don't know what they're saying now of what the price would be prior to.
I'll look it up while you talk.
I do think that you can't really judge those prices before the set comes out. Really, I wouldn't judge them prior to like a month after. Like you need a month after the set comes out to really be like, okay, the prices have kind of leveled. This is what it is. But I mean, you just made a weird face. What's it looking like?
Okay, so there's not great market price for it right now, but 650 for the normal art of it, extended art $50.
Yeah, you can't really.
Yeah, so like that shows that there are people that are like,
This
I'm
is
tuned
good.
in, this is good. Yeah.
And maybe there's people out there, I'm sure there are, that are like, this card is going to be X amount of dollars. That's how the market goes. I just think that it really depends on the amount of printing and how they're packaged. Like if you can get one of these every 15 packs, then of course it's going to be lower, I think.
Let's buy every single one on the market, hold them at hostage, and then sell them. That would never happen. Yeah, it's yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. It's gonna go in Gralnock, which I mean, I think like Gralnock is maybe gonna be good, better, but this alone is just crazy because it's a huge value piece that gets better. I know a lot of people that play Blue Farm specifically are like, yeah, I get your point. It doesn't have flying though, so it's not Timna trigger. Okay, but what are you trying to do with Timna? Draw a card. It does that very
and
well by itself.
and
Like,
it's got a big butt.
yeah,
Like it'll be with Timna on board. If this was cast first, you're talking two 3 4 or 2 4.
2/4. Yeah,
That's solid.
yeah.
Like what is gonna
1/3 is solid. Like it can kill a Ragavan and still live. Yeah, like
yeah. I mean, I think that this is a card that's going to be a problem if it's on table. And if you swords it instead of something that I really need, cool. Like,
it replaces itself when you swords it too. It's the Nadu problem. Like if you are going to evolve this by the time someone swords it, and then it replaces itself, and you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, like,
yeah. And even if you swords, like, chances are I draw a card anyway. So,
and it's hitting board is the other thing. It's like usually with like Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, you play it and you're just like, let me clench a little bit because this is really easy to counter. Polywog Prodigy, when you put it on stack, you can be pretty confident it's going to resolve.
I mean, what are you going to force it? Like,
Strix it,
I
really.
mean, I like Strix, and I don't think I would hold Strix for this. Like, I would want to hit a commander with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are learning that if you counter Rhystic Study, I think people are learning if Rhystic Study resolves, that's pretty much game. Again, there's two cards that really can stop this that blue might run, and if you're getting it out turn one, it doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, like they're not gonna have it.
I I'm with you on um
I wouldn't mana drain it. It's two.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Remora, if I had this in Remora, I think that I would Remora first. Maybe.
If you have 2 mana,
I know because I would want to Remora second on
yeah,
this one,
yeah.
just because
It
Remora puts you at a deficit on your mana as you play,
yeah.
because you're gonna pay the first one.
We have a podcast coming up where we kind of talk about CEDH bans and not to spoil anything, but I do think Remora is a problem. And if this and Remora are in my opening hand and I have 2 mana, I'm casting Polywog. you know?
Cast
Yeah.
Polywog, cast the other one second.
Yeah. And maybe that's wrong, because if somebody's dropping a bunch of rocks, clearly Mystic Remora is the better option. It's a lot of, is Atali going next? Yeah, I'm probably dropping Mystic Remora, but still, like, it's a very strong choice where I, depending on what's going on, most of the time I'm casting Polywog Prodigy, and Mystic Remora has been great forever. And this is making me question which one to cast,
The only issue I see with it is, let's say you don't have it turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have it turn 3. I mean, it's still good.
Yeah.
I just don't see it being as much value.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, the window for it is turn 1, unless you're going to try to um, underworld breach loop, like your lion's eye, because then that's a card every time.
Yeah.
You'll have that same problem of, let's say you can no longer wait on Remora to drop out
It
for it.
yeah, I mean, it's there are 2 cards in Blue Farm that win the game if they resolve early. Well, where I and there's no data on this because it's, physical cards, but I feel like Mystic, Ristic, if played before turn 3, your win rate goes up more than if it's not. Like, I would say you probably have a 26%, 27% win rate. You're putting a third card in that does that. That makes your win rate go up when played 2%. Yeah.
There's
When
no
when
pay in it either.
when resolved, probably 4%. There's no paying it, which is another big thing. The only drawback is it's not a May. You have to do it. Which, you know, could be a problem, like you said, if you play it late, where you're like, I really did. I went to value. I didn't think I was in a position to win, but then I passed and I drew into Thassa's and Tainted Pact. Boo. Or like
Yeah.
Thassa's and Demonic would be more of the problem, but like, it's oh no. Like, what a terrible world where,
I mean, you get to a point too where this could be my um,
yeah,
diabolic sacrifice, or my culling. Is it culling the weak?
calling the week, yeah.
This could be my culling sacrifice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also solid.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind using it as a sacrifice to get excess mana or a card out of the deck. I just see this very strong, and I think that even if I change it into a Timna beater, block it, don't block it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, green also can turn this into a Thassa's. So, like, if you're running Sultai, you could go draw, draw, draw. I need to get rid of this. Oh, I have Taint Pact in hand, and I have Eldritch Evolution. Cool. All right. Goodbye, Polywog. You did good. Like, all
we
right, win. Like,
we also don't see the flare used a lot.
oh yeah, this
Maybe,
is a flare piece. Yeah.
I mean, if you need to counter a spell, you draw a card, counter the spell, sack it,
Yeah.
or draw a card, sack it, counter the spell.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before, there is Lab Maniac where it's like, I want to draw when I have nothing in my direct. Like, if it ever becomes a problem that is that big, I'll just go the Italian route and just want to deck myself and draw to win.
I like it. I think that it'll see CEDH play. This is probably one of the best cards that of this list. I would say it's hard to top.
Best card of 2024, my opinion. Like, Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me. Put it in the comments, and I could talk about this card for an hour. So I'm gonna move on.
I'm with it. Yeah.
20 toad, 3 generic and a blue creature frog wizard. Your maximum hand size is 20. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, put a 1/1 counter on 20 toad and draw a card. Whenever 20 toad attacks, you win the game if there are 20 or more counters on it, or you have 20 or more cards in hand. It's a 3/3. Alternate win cons are cool. Will this see CEDH play? I don't think so. I don't even know if it's going to go in Grolnok. Grolnok does need a way to close, but I don't. I'm not
You
getting
don't have a
20.
hand.
Yeah, I have second hand. That's exile croak counters, and I'm not changing the deck to where it's a 1/1 counter deck. Um, is it really cool? Yes. Is the art great? No, because I can't see his grippers. This is a feet card, and I can't see his feet. Where are his toes? Does he have 10 toes on each foot? Or are we counting his hands as toes and he has 5 fingers, 5 toes? Because then, if so, I'm a 20 toad. I'm a 20 toed human. I'm a 20 toed cryptid.
I think that this is definitely on this list because it's a toad.
It's a frog.
Yeah, a frog on here, frog wizard.
I also just need to know, does he have 10 toes each?
Would this be used in the wizard deck? Like I don't remember the name of it, but I know that it likes to draw. Is it a zombie?
Oh, yeah, that's not a CDH deck. It never will be.
It's high
Yeah,
powered,
yeah.
and this is kind of where that is too. Would this be something that would be there?
I mean,
I
there's
don't know.
the Tricaskelion that if you have exactly 13 cards in hand, you win the game. This is cool because or more, but it's like, yeah, but you gotta draw 7 more cards, like, and then you have to do the same thing that we've talked about on every podcast. All right, guys, I've got 20 cards in hand. I'm moving to combat. Is everything? Oh, you killed him. Oh, dang. Now I gotta discard 13 cards. Like,
I think that it's interesting. I like frogs. I don't know. This wouldn't be in any CEDH deck that I know of
mm-mm.
immediately.
Yeah. Gralnock wants frogs, and I would not put it in this.
Maybe there's a world where you attack with, is it 2 creatures, 2 or more? You
Yeah.
attack with 2 creatures, and then you,
Put a counter on it and draw a card, and
oh, you couldn't even do it as you attack.
yeah,
You'd
because
have
it's
to
when
do
you
it.
declare the attack.
You'd have to do it moving into combat.
Yeah.
You could move into at moving into combat, ad nos, and then have, is it 20 or more or just 20? 20 or more
20 or more.
So you could do it that way and try.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I like the problem with a lot of these cards whenever I'm reviewing them is no current commander wants this. Really, But also, the fact that this exists could make commanders that aren't played able to be played. We could see a new commander that loves this. We could see a new Demir commander that is really, really good at drawing 20 cards. And this is in the 99 in case you don't hit Thassa's. Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Hazel's Brewmaster. 3 generic black creature, Squirrel Warlock, Menace. Whenever Hazel's Brewmaster enters or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard and create a food token. Foods you control have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Hazel's Brewmaster.
Whoo.
Yeah, so it does have to be exiled with Hazel's Brewmaster, and whenever it ETBs. So if you can loop the ETB, you can just get all activate abilities. Agatha's Soul Cauldron arguably is better.
Oh,
Um,
it's definitely better.
it's colorless. It also transforms your colorless into any color mana, I believe, too, which is something I always forget it does. It puts 1/1 counters on things. It's also foods you control have all activated abilities of creatures. Meh. Yeah, I mean, clearly, there is that one commander that we talked about that turns every creature into a food. So it's every creature now has the ability to tap for every creature on my battlefield is now Bloom Tender,
Yeah,
which
I could see that.
but you're in Golgari, so it taps for 2, which is still good. But like
Well, you're either in Gelgari or that's part of a combo.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, this is going to be something that, let's say you have a food deck, this may be worth it.
yeah.
I mean,
And it's activated. It's not ETBs or triggers, so you have to tap or pay. At the end of the day,
yeah.
um, it it is this very fun. Yeah, like there's also a world without Yagara deck where you play Hazel's Brewmaster, get a creature exiled from your deck. Somebody's not really paying attention, and they're like, "Yeah, so your food is a Plume Tender. I don't care." And then you pass, and then you play Yagara, and every creature and every fruit food that you own is now Plume Tender. It's interesting. I like it. Let's see CDH play. I don't think so. Corvold, when I read sacrifice, well, when I read food, I think sacrifice. Would this go into Corvold? I don't think so at 4. I could be wrong.
I think that it's almost there.
Yeah.
I do think that um it's a very interesting mechanic. It's a squirrel. I like squirrels.
You could show me a busted combo where you're like, oh well, if you give it haste, when it enters, it exiles this. When it attacks, it exiles this. You win the game. Like you could, I mean, really in blue, you see untap creatures like way back in the day where it's like, well, yeah, like if you exile this creature and then you exile this other creature that untaps, it's tap, do a damage, untap, do this, blah blah blah
So
blah blah.
so if you're gonna make the Panther Gilgari
Yagara, I think, yeah.
Yagara deck, I think that this might have a slot there.
Oh, this if that becomes a CDH viable deck, this has a slot. It's 4, but it has a spot.
It's it's also awesome art. Like this is a squirrel cooking some poison looking stuff with a spiny tail. Like
Mm.
cool things.
I mean, and also too, like let's say you're playing this in, I don't know, a 5 color deck. Uh, somebody killed your bloom. Somebody bowmastered your bloom tender. You're like, oh dang, okay, Hazel's brewmaster. ETBs. Um, I exile bloom tender. I have a food token. No summoning suckness on the food token. I tap Wooburg. Not terrible.
It I think that maybe if it was a little bit lower in mana cost and if it was a legendary, this would be a Sisse card because I I, I think it's interesting.
I don't want to give anybody any ideas. Sushi deck. Hazel's Brewmaster. ETBs. You've entombed your devoted druid. Your food becomes, for a green, tap the food. Exile your entire deck. Thassa's GG. 7 cost for a Thassa's combo win in colors where there's demonic and tainted, but it's like it's
You would need a way to do food though.
he makes the food.
Oh, he does.
When it enters or
Oh, it
attacks,
makes one.
yeah.
Okay,
So
that
you
makes
you
sense.
could have a Thassa's line that's Hazel's Brewmaster. I have 7 mana. I'll cast 2 creatures, one of them being Thassa's, and I win. which is hard to do. Which I I think what Sushi tries to do is just get to the point where it's like I have so many counters, I'm just gonna toss a combo. Um,
This is a good backup.
this is a good backup of, for some reason I'm running Hermit Druid in that deck, and now I have a backup if Hermit Druid goes away. I need to entomb him.
I should really read the card because it explains what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how do you get? I'm thinking maybe Oko. Like you get an Oko, create a food token.
It
You know,
empowers itself, which is what you want to see in CDH.
maybe you blink it. I don't know. Reanimate it, maybe.
What do you like? So when it enters, it exiles and creates a food token, and whenever it attacks.
Oh, when it attacks
So
too.
the moment that you cast this and it resolves, it exiles one card, from a graveyard.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
any
even have to
graveyard.
be your own. And then you create a food token, and that food token is an artifact that immediately can tap because it's not a creature.
And you can also, I guess with this, it's also good like to utilize the fact that it doesn't have to be a creature
Mm-hmm.
because you could just exile a key piece on play. Like let's say I have, I don't know, Savines in my graveyard. You go to exile it. Wouldn't do anything for your foods, but then I don't have it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Exile
yeah,
up to one target card from a graveyard. Create a
yeah.
food token.
I mean, also have all activated abilities. So if you killed my mana crypt, or what's the one that taps for 3 that you take a damage every turn that it's tapped
Um,
and it doesn't untap?
Mana Vault.
Okay, so you kill my mana vault. I go, cool. Hazel's Brewmaster. Every food is a mana vault. It taps for 3 colorless.
You're talking in a world that's not on this card though,
What do you mean?
because it's only creatures.
Exile up to 1 target card.
Food you control have
Oh,
all active.
all creature cards. Okay, so whenever it said any card, I was like, "You've opened up my mind."
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
yeah, use it to destroy something in a graveyard,
Yeah.
not necessarily to use it for the food. That
Okay.
would
Yeah.
be
So
silly town.
it can be any card, but it only gains the activated abilities of only creature cards exiled with Hazel's Brewmaster. And if Hazel's Brewmaster gets removed, they all go back to foods.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's good. 4 mana, probably too much to see CDH play, but like Hermit Druid immediately comes to mind where it's okay, cool, I have a Hermit Druid that can tap right away for green, boom.
Yeah.
All gone. Like,
Yeah, I see it.
yeah. And then it's like you the fact that you could win with 2 creatures and 1 in graveyard, and it would be a Thassa combo where it's like none of my counters can stop this. Like it'd be 7, so it'd be black, green, blue, blue, 3 colorless, which is quite a lot. But it's possible.
I'm sure there's some broken combo that we're missing too on this one.
Mm,
I do feel like this is a possibility in some decks, which
mm-hmm.
is more than some that I've seen. This is okay, and it's a squirrel.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably like first sliver food chain where you like cascade into it, and then you can win the game off the cascade. Don't know what that would be, but yeah, cool, cool. Agate Instigator, a generic red creature lizard rogue, offspring, generic and a red. You may pay a generic and a red to cast a spell. If you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. Whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. It's mini Perforos and also Obnixis
Hmm.
card.
I think that this would be Obnixis. I don't mean to jump backwards to the previous card on this, but Would you think that Crick would use it for like? Well, necrotic ooze is not. Never mind. I'm tripping.
Yeah, Crick already really has necrotic.
I was thinking an additional food for necrotic, but necrotic isn't activated.
It's a passive ability. Yeah.
Anyway, this one here, the lizard rogue is definitely an Omnixus card. I see that for sure. Maybe even that red. Man, I can't think of that crazy red deck, but it's
Oh, the Ogier.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, as somebody that has said that they have an interest in making that Perforos deck, this card is pay 4, trigger Perforos twice. Everybody takes 4. If I followed up with another card, everybody takes 4 again because now Perforos is 2 damage, 1 damage because of agate, and 1 damage because of agate. And also, more importantly, I've made a token that can be replicated through effects that deals 1 damage every time a creature enters.
yeah. I think that this is one of those cards that's sleep like people sleep on it. Like I think that
Mm-hmm.
this will work in a bunch of different red ping decks
Yeah.
or Obnixis for sure.
I mean, clearly Obnixis is front runner whenever I see this. That Perforos deck has been doing really well in Japan. It that Perforos deck wants to poop out additional creatures. The whole point of the deck is I cast a creature, it poops out extra creatures. They each do 2 damage. This one is I can cast it for 2. If I'm in a situation where I need to cast it for 2, it's a mini Perforos trigger. If I'm in a situation where I do have the 4, it becomes Perforos. Because it's each opponent too. It's not targeted. We like we said in the other one where we like seeing those mono red decks that just punish people for playing the game, like game actions that happen slowly. It puts a clock where it's like, yeah, you guys can sit here and fight over who's going to win, but eventually I will ping you guys down so much that if you all bicker among yourselves, I'm just going to sit in the corner, watch you guys kill each other, and then I'll walk away with the prize. Like,
Yeah, drop you afterwards.
and this is not it. Like you have to make the actions, but you can have that style of deck. You're definitely going to be playing creatures, and then all of a sudden it becomes
Play a creature, deal damage.
cool. Everybody's like, hey, we're all at 4 life, or like something like that, and you're just like, okay, cool. I know all I have to do is play a couple creatures and I win the game. There's enchantments that do this. There's Perforos, which is an enchantment creature. Now there's another creature that can do it twice. So it's good.
This is gonna be you're gonna make room for this card. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's. I can't think of the lizard, but there's like a little fiery lizard
Oh,
that
the one
plays
that
a
we were
lot.
talking about in Thunder Junction. Yeah.
I see that being one of those ones that's similar to this effect, and I can't think of the name of it, but
Yeah, I'm looking it up because we've talked about it twice. Mage Bane Lizard. Um, One generic red creature lizard. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Mage Bane Lizard deals damage to that player equal to the number of non-creature spells they've cast this turn. So I mean, it's a 1/4. So all of these have big butts too. They're hard to remove.
it's it's
That
one of those things where I'm playing cards. You're not really seeing the value. You're like, okay, now I'm taking two,
Yeah,
and then I cast one creature. You're taking 3 damage,
yeah.
and yeah, it's just crazy.
That one punishes people for playing the game, which they can control how they play the game. This one punishes all of my opponents at the same time for when I play the game, which a good mix of both is good because at some point people can go, "Hey, can we all agree that this guy has hit us for 20 and we're tired of it?" And then they could all go, "Yeah." And then they're like, "I'm not going to do the things that trigger this. I'm going to try to play around it. I don't care if I'm a little bit slower. I don't think he's going to be able to close out the game if we play around it." And then I'll be like, "Yes, you're correct." So I'll play Agate Instigator, and
Yeah, yeah.
and a Perforos. Every time a creature enters, you guys take 4. Boom, boom, boom. Like, like
Now you're gonna take 12 this turn.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I like it. And then it's not if you cast it. So let's say you want to swarm with some kind of, I don't know, Krinko or something. It's I'm gonna make 4 creatures. Now y'all are all gonna take 4 damage.
yeah. I mean, like mono red. If you're playing mono red, if Bergie is not the commander, Bergie's probably in the list,
Oh yeah, it's in there somewhere.
and Bergie and Grinning Ingus loop indefinitely because every time you cast Grinning Ingus, you get the mana to send it back to your hand, which gives you enough mana to cast it again because it the loop only is -1 mana, but with Bergie you get that mana back. So Bergie Grinning Ingus is I kill everybody with this card and Perforos and other stuff. So I mean
And it's 1 red to cast. Like if you had Bergie on field, you play, you could pay 1 to cast it, or pay 2, you get 1 back, so it's really only 1, and then you just continue doing what you're doing. I think that I think that this is scary.
yeah. It
I think it's too low to the ground.
and there was always impact tremors, but again, impact tremors is a an enchantment, very easy to counter. Agate Instigator is not easy to counter. It's a creature. Perforos is yeah, it's hard to counter, but you can Swan Song Perforos because it's an enchantment creature, and also it's 4. This is 2, and if you're going infinite cast triggers with Grinning Ingus or some other effect, um, it doesn't matter if you're doing 1. Doesn't matter if you're doing 2. They're all still dead anyway.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is one of those cards that I cast it turn 2, turn 1. You don't really think about it, or I cast it late game and get 2.
Yeah,
You know, I pay 4 for it, get 2 of them.
yeah.
Cool with that. Then next turn I may cast a creature and you take 2, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then that creature was Bergie, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Granted English, you die.
yeah.
You know, like,
And the question becomes that everybody at the table, it's like, do we have a mind break trap? Do we have a swords?
no,
No.
cool.
Do we have a force of will that we're willing to burn on this? If not, we all lose right now. Yeah, like okay,
And then it's like, okay, well, then I'll just go back to pinging y'all for 2 a turn until
yeah,
you die.
like honestly, at the end of the day, this is impact tremors on a 1/3 body, but impact tremors is great. Perforos is great. You can now, whenever I look at a deck, if it's just, oh hey, I can have this as my commander, and then there's another card I can throw in the 99 that does it too as a backup, cool. I'm probably not going to build that deck, but if I go, oh, well now there's 2 things that do this, and one of them is low to the ground and it's a creature, at that point I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to play this now. Yeah.
This is gonna get play in that type of deck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'll see very many of the mono red pinger decks. However, this is gonna be in there, I think.
And I mean, we already reviewed a lot of cards that were like, this card is here for Obnixis. Another one, it's here for Obnixis.
Yeah, I like it.
Like there's a world that you turn 1 play the 1 black that's in the set that on landfall it does a damage, and then you play Agate Instigator, and it's like, okay, well, I put down a land, take a damage. I play a creature. Everybody take a damage.
I exile all these cards with Obnixis.
Yeah.
I play what I want. Everybody cool with that? No, too bad.
You guys are 40 actions away from every single person losing. And some of those will be lands. All right, let's move on. I have seen a lot of hype around this card. Bloodroot Apothecary, 2 generic, a green, creature Squirrel Druid. Has Toxic 2. Players dealt combat damage by this creature also get 2 poison counters. A player with 10 or more poison counters loses the game. When Bloodroot Apothecary enters, you and target opponent each create a treasure token. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-creature token, that player gets 2 poison counters. So, cool.
Whoa.
No longer, once this enters, you have to make a decision of, do I sack all of my treasures right now? And if so, dang, for 3 they sacked all of their treasures. Or hey, let me sack all of my treasures but 4 and cross my fingers that they can't swing with it on their next turn and kill me if this 4 mana doesn't win me the game. Um, to me, this might as well just read 2, 3, 3. Every treasure on the field gets sacrificed. No more treasures can be sacrificed the rest of the game. The only problem that this card has is it's no Manglehorn. In a deck where I have a slot for this type of effect to stop Docksides, it's always going to be Manglehorn, because Manglehorn on ETB blows up a mana rock, and then on top of it, all treasures come in tapped. If there's a deck where I have 2 of these effects, I'm probably doing Manglehorn and then Bloodroot Apothecary if it's mono green.
So to me, this card has a win con pretty much on it. Pseudo win con. I mean, you can swing and get 2 counters on somebody. You give somebody a treasure, which, if they use it, they get 2 counters. I see this being one of those cards to where, if you have white, you play like a Dauntless Dismantler. So now they dockside and they have to pass. You put it out and you're like, cool. Do what you want to do now.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of it.
I'm locking these treasures down, and then I'm going to follow it up with a dockside. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't make them sack their own treasures. You can give them some. But I don't care if you have 30 treasures. If you sack them and you die, like,
and I mean, I don't. It says non-creature token. I don't know what that would be outside of foods and treasures and foods and CDH lol. Like
clues maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess another card to put on the. Well, this is why we're not going to see Tibet anymore list, but Manglehorn. I don't like opponents to have options, and Manglehorn removes all options. It just comes in tapped, and it has an ETB where it has immediate value. If I have the spot in the deck, it's Manglehorn. If I have 2 spots in the deck and I'm not running white, it might be Bloodroot.
I mean, this is an immediate stop to Corvold. Like, if this is out there, Corvold can't do anything until that's done. I mean,
same with Manglehorn.
Yeah, I mean, you could pass though, and then you do it the next turn. This here, you can't even pass it. Like, you can't do it.
Corvold's not really going to pass with treasures because every treasure is a card draw. So you're just if you're in a situation with Corvold where you have a bunch 5 or more treasures, you're probably just going to go, I'll just tap them for 5 black and hope I hit Adnos.
I could see that. And like you said, this is probably going to be, at some point they did a dockside and they had to pass, or something happened. They've amassed, let's say they have a Smothering Tithe.
Yeah.
Now you do whatever you're going to do on the stack while this is coming out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't care how many you get now. Figure it out.
I don't like the thing I like. I don't think this answers any question that Manglehorn wouldn't answer, because like you said, let's say somebody has a bunch of treasures up and it's your turn, which, when does that happen? I guess Smothering Tithe is a good example of, I drew a bunch of cards. now because drew a bunch, I drew a bunch of cards, or I know I will. I'm gonna play a Bloodroot Apothecary. This answers problems better than Manglehorn when there are existing treasures on the field, and I play this because then they have to float. But
Realistically, though, this is a 2 cost.
it's a 3 cost.
I mean, yeah, but it refunds one.
Yeah,
I,
I get that.
I mean, and it's refund to any color.
Yeah.
I mean, you pay. Let's say you use mana from a Gaia's Cradle. This is now. I cast this. I also make a mana of whatever color I want, and cause this issue for the entire table. And you're in green, like that's Gaia's Cradle color. You're gonna have one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'd rather it be a Manglehorn.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's in a world where it can have a Manglehorn and it.
Yeah. And I mean that is the world that this card exists in. But
Is it better than another slot? I don't know.
yeah, like any deck where I have green and white, I'm going to do Manglehorn,
No,
preferably
and
Dauntless, secondary, Bloodroot Apocryphy, third. If I don't want to just go, I'm gonna shut everything off. I'll play Oof. I'm gonna shut everything off. I'll play Oof is better. Yeah, Oof isn't one sided, but if you're playing this card, you're not playing this card to win. You're playing this card to lock, and Oof does it better. Manglehorn does it better. I think Corvold might care about it because it enters people, they can't get treasures. It replaces itself because I get a treasure, and it's a prism. Like I get it in Corvold, but um
my issue though is you're saying oof. I think oof turns off all.
yeah, but I mean if you're in that position, you'll go get Oof. It's is Oof in your deck to begin with, but also it's the same question for Bloodroot Apothecary, where it's like I have this card in my deck to lock the game. It does not really, outside of giving me a treasure whenever it ETBs, it doesn't really solve any problems that push me closer to a win.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know because you can also it also has toxic too. I I don't think that you would run it in an infect deck. Um,
I mean, Toxic 2 is I have to swing
and hit.
and hit 15 times to win the game. 5 on each person. Which, I mean, yeah, if they're sacking treasures, you get closer to that, but eh. Like I see it. This is a good card. I'm not saying
I,
it's a good
I feel
card.
like there's a spell that forces people to sacrifice. I feel like there is. Now maybe with that and this, that's a thing. And maybe there's this combo that I know could happen and I just don't see it immediately.
I mean, there is that white creature that all artifacts have an upkeep of pay 1 or sacrifice this artifact. But if it's a treasure, then I just sack it, and then I don't care if my normal artifacts get sacked because they're not tokens, and that's what this cares about.
Well, I mean, yeah, I get it.
I mean, it does shut off Magda, but I mean, if you're putting a card in just to shut off Magda, like, what are you doing? Yeah,
It shuts off Magda and I think it hurts Corval too.
yeah. I
Both
mean,
both of which aren't played a whole lot.
yeah,
You don't see them. They're not they're not top 16 a lot.
yeah. And I mean, this is another one where it's like, how does Tivit win? Sacrificing 5 artifacts. Cool. This will kill Tivit. But I mean, I'm not worried about Tivit. The only reason I'm not really gonna say I'm hating on the card, but this out of every single card that was printed in the set, I've been sent this one 4 times. And if you're sending me these cards, thank you. Please please keep doing it. But my perception right now is this is the card that everybody's just like, oh, this is going to change CDH. Green got a good card, and that's not the answer.
Somewhat like Nadu
Yeah.
has been seen.
I mean, Nadu has done stuff. Like I'm still gonna say that people are in CDH are gonna figure out that this is how you deal with Nadu, and it'll go the Stellar Lee route, not to the effect of Stellar Lee. You just don't see Stellar Lee anymore. But I feel like Nadu is a problem that once it's solved, you won't see it anymore. Um, I like that this card exists, but it is not a CDH card, and it's not a card that casual players will really want
I
to run.
think this will be a high casual,
Yeah,
like
that's where I'm at.
like a high powered casual, possibly an option in CEDH.
Yeah, but this card was presented to me by multiple people that was like, finally, Green got something good, and it's like, no, this is
I mean,
Manglehorn.
in this
Manglehorn's way better.
in this set, I feel like there was way more good to
Mm-hmm.
green.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot to blue as well,
Mm.
but I don't
Now,
know. I
now,
like it.
now in a typal squirrel deck where you wouldn't really want to run Manglehorn, you'd want to run a squirrel. Great. And I maybe Bloomburrow does create a typal squirrel CDH deck. I do see the makings of it. I can't put it together myself, but that doesn't mean that it won't exist.
Mm,
And in that deck, MVP. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Next card. So we're coming to the end. What we wanted to do was kind of look at a couple of cards that are getting reprints. This might be the only one, but there are a lot of good, cool reprints in the Commander sets. Not going to go over all of them here. Just wanted to point out that they exist, and I really wanted to point out that Saw in Half is getting a reprint.
As a squirrel,
As a squirrel that's cutting a is that a snake or a worm?
worm, snake, slithery thing, eel. I have no idea.
I wish it was I wish it was a worm, because we know that when you cut a worm in half, both sides can live and exist as single entities, which is what Saw in Half does. I'm gonna pretend it's a worm that they just put a snake mouth
Does
on
it does
or
it look
something.
like a snake?
It does. It looks like there's like a mouth open near the tail, but I mean, this is cool. Yeah, like
I
the fact that it's not Infinity. I always want to call it Infinity. What was that set where this was
Ooh,
printed?
you're asking the
Let me.
wrong
I'll look it
man.
up. You can talk a little bit.
I
I'll look it
know
up.
I know barely what sets like are. I'll be like, yeah, I seen that symbol before. No,
Infinity is
is
it?
it
Yeah, yeah.
Infinity? I do think that I wonder if this has a full art because
I don't think so.
man, that would be great.
Yeah,
If it's foil,
I don't think it's. Well, maybe it's in packs. Yeah, I don't know.
I I like this art. I think a full art would be great. I think that if
I
this
can
is
answer that question. I have the
if
internet.
it's just this art, this form, this card, I still like it. Saw in Half is I don't think it was a super expensive card. I do think it was a really big combo piece for um a lot of different combos and plays and such. And having it be reprinted is a good thing.
I do not see a full art, and when I go to the listing on TCG Player, I do not see a foil. So I think it's just a reprint inside one of the commander decks. I don't even know if you can get impacts. Hopefully you
Nah,
can.
poop.
Yeah.
I think that even if it is just in that, I probably would rather have this one.
Yeah.
And just because it's a squirrel, I don't
I
really have another.
I would. So whenever Infinity was one of the sets that MTG was like, we want to create a unset that people that actually play constructed formats can get excited about, because there's reprints of Shocklands, there's Clown Car, there's Saw in Half, there's all this stuff. I would be pretty cool if they just banned Infinity, period. And because Saw in Half has been printed as a commander card, it's legal. If Blank Goblin went away, reprinted as something different. Maybe it's blank hobgoblin that just, and it says blank. Maybe it just says blank spelled out goblin, and it's when this card ETBs, you get 4 red mana.
I,
As a little nod to it. But yeah,
yeah,
but
I think that this also is it does something that I kind of like to do with my cards. Um, as we play, as CEDH players, you see the same cards over
yeah,
and over
yeah.
again. And what this does is gives it a new art. So there is that chance that they pass priority on it.
Well, I mean, also too, not even on the strategic part where it's like, let's say I've seen Saw in Half 100 times, and I don't know that this exists, and I go to a tournament and somebody's like, I'm gonna Saw in Half my Brewlord. Well, I'm losing right now, but I've never seen a squirrel Saw in Half, so I'm pretty excited.
Very, very true. I'm gonna be uber happy if I see
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
I do like the original too. I think that it's a really pretty card.
yeah.
This is a squirrel though.
Yeah, and I believe, and that I could be wrong, and if I am, please tell us. I believe this is the first time that a un card has ever been reprinted and shifted into a different
Art.
format that was not un.
Um,
I don't think we've ever seen a reprint into a, yeah. I can be pretty confident to say I don't think we've ever seen a reprint of an un card. So I mean, this is big. This is cool. I do like that they were like, hey, has an acorn on it. It can't be played. And they tried it and they were like, nah, this doesn't work. Um, it's just cool. I like it. I mean, I think we should do more things where if you're not really wanting to mess around and buy packs of Infinity, and you're the type of person that wants to pull a Saw in Half out of a pack, you don't want to buy it as a single. Maybe you can now if you buy the commander deck. No,
I will say that we're touching on a very big, some very big reprints because there's a lot of planeswalkers that are getting
oh yeah,
swirl treatments
yeah,
and stuff, and I
like
don't want to
the
not
plane shifted, and yeah.
mention that. I mean, having some of the Lilianas is kind of cool. Having some of the chases is kind of cool. We did see them.
Yeah,
O-
they're there. Yeah,
Obviously, this is again what we think is the most interesting out of what's going on.
yeah. I assume that. I mean, in my world, I'm just pushed when new cards come out. I assume that people have seen them quite a bit and they've seen the whole set, and they come to the podcast and they're just like, I've seen all these cards. I don't know what's good. Can you guys tell me? But I mean, also, there's probably people that are like, I don't care about all of these news articles. I'm not going to hunt them down. I want somebody to tell me what I care about in the set. I've not seen it. So yeah, I think calling that out is really good. That, yeah, like Teferi, the Teferi that locks the game down is a secretary bird, plane shifted. There's a Karn Great Creator that looks like a Deku tree.
Looks cool.
Really cool. Yeah, like plane shifted into a tree. Liliana, Vraska, Jace, all your favorites. Nissa is a frog. Like,
I am excited about maybe those are the cards that you look for the new stuff, and then this has been kind of tucked in,
yeah,
and you're just like, I got a Liliana or a Tefiris
yeah.
that's a bird. I'm using that.
I almost said something stupid.
What?
I was like, it's weird that they reprinted all of these commanders, like Soren as a bat, which that'll be a secret layer, but they reprint all of these commanders and like, or all of these planeswalkers shifted, and like, where's a Johnny? Where's Grist? Like, and I was like, oh, he's a cat. Oh, that's a caterpillar. All right, fair. You can skip over those. Be somewhat redundant.
Soren as a bat. I like Soren.
What about the new elephant dude? he could get an animal shift.
Yeah, he should get a furry critter shift.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's funny, man.
yeah.
I like this Saw in Half's art a lot. I think that any of those cards that get the weird arts, it takes a while for people to adjust. Not that I play real shady.
Yeah, this sounds shady. I would be admitting to this.
However, you know, I do like playing and being like, I'm gonna play the ball, and they're like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "It's a Felwar Stone,"
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
just
yeah.
like it.
It's a football that I get to look at the entire time I'm playing the game.
Or I play, I don't know, an obscure art that you can't get as easy,
Yeah.
or it's not the norm. I mean, how cool would it be if I use Teferi's combo again?
Mm,
I want the bird.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just personally.
To me, every time I see it, I'm gonna start calling him Zazu, like from Lion King.
It's Zazu.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play Zazu.
yeah.
Like what?
To me, like, to kind of wrap like this up is I view these cards kind of how I view tattoos. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, I get them for me, and honestly, sometimes I pay about $200 for them, so it's very similar to the price of a tattoo. But at the end of the day, I get them for me. I am going to be looking at them quite a bit because I'm going to be playing this deck. I'm going to be, seeing this card over and over and over again. I want something that every time I see it, it makes me happy. And if other people see it and they're like, I dig it. This tells me a little bit about your personality, and I like it and I'm appreciating it. That's also really cool, you know?
Also, we play a game where, we're all cardboard goblins at the end of the day, and newer arts are always cool. Full arts are cool. We like the special treatment. This is one of those cards that I like. But I think that I'll try to get the Teferi as well. Um,
Yeah, it's cool. I think we're going into the last card. So this one's a little weird. I have not seen a non-box topper version of this card. So maybe this is purely a buy a box promo and that's it. It's not getting another print. It is called Flubs, the Fool. Green, blue, red. Legendary creature, Frog Scout. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. When you play a card or cast a spell, draw a card if you have no cards in hand. Otherwise, discard a card. It's a 0/5. So, first off, I like spooky things. This is the full tarot card art, but with a frog in the Magic universe, which is really cool. The art on this is on point. I think it's cool that I could be playing a really stupid Kermit. You know?
it's funny that you mentioned that. I didn't even notice that it was a tarot card.
Yeah, it's the exact art. For like, if you look at the full tarot card and you look at Flubs, it's the exact art just redone. Which is one of those like touches that I appreciate. They didn't have to do that. But this is to me this is a really interesting commander. I would love to play at a table where there's a Flubs the Fool and a Miss Butterbutt or whatever. Like this is a very interesting commander. When I saw it, I was like, this commander is low to the ground and it kind of breaks the game. I looked at it, and this, not very often, twice in the set I've seen two legendary creatures that I was like, I want to figure out how to make this deck. I know I can break this. Flubs the Fool, kind of what I came up with was if you have Shifting Woodlands and you have discarded Omnipotence, which is an enchantment that lets you cast everything in your hand for free, you can turn Shifting Woodlands into Omnipotence, and if you have an odd number of cards in hand, you win the game because you will discard down to one, and then whenever you play that one, uh, if it's very specific. There's a instant or sorcery that pulls all of your lands out of your deck and you exile all of them, and everything in your deck is no longer a land, so everything is playable.
Mm.
So it becomes a I have flubs. I have this thing that exiles all lands in my deck. Necropotence was discarded through Flubs' own effect. I win the game because I have an odd number of cards in my hand. I can literally play every single card in my deck, and it's a whenever you play a land or cast a spell. So it's another one that's a cast trigger where it's like I play the spell, they're like, "Oh, cool, I'll counter it." It's like I don't care that it gets countered. Draw, cast, draw, cast, draw, cast, draw. Like
I That's interesting. I think that the art's really good on it. I think that the combo is interesting. I think that's crazy,
yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest.
I mean, it's really specific. You have to have a hand where you have the ability to cast flubs. You have to have that one land. You have to somehow go get that sorcery or instant that takes all of the lands out of your deck. They all have to resolve. You know,
Yeah.
outside of the land, land doesn't have to resolve, but flubs has to resolve. Like it's interesting. And I mean, there's also, as I was talking about it, I was like, yeah, but you don't want to get stuck with flubs because then you start having to kind of, if you're not at literally one card, you just every time you cast something, you have to discard.
Mm.
But also, it's in red. You can gift flubs to somebody else. You know,
Oh yeah.
like you could run a deck where I mean, you don't really want to run a card that just gifts your commander to somebody else because then at that point you might as well be playing Zedu and you're not playing Zedu in CDH, you know, really at
No.
the end of the day. I mean there's you could get to the point to like it's an interesting situation where it's like, hey guys, I I counted his cards. He has 5 cards in hand. Someone needs to on their turn. Somebody needs to Gilded Drake flubs. Like someone needs to take flubs or get rid of it and just really hope he can't recast it. And then they're like, well, I don't want flubs. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
sucks. Like
Yeah. I don't want to do that.
yeah, I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to win the game, but I also don't want to have to
It's like if
discard a card every time I cast a spell. Like
it's like if you're so worried about it, you do
yeah,
it.
you take flubs. Flubs sucks. Like
Yeah.
it's like that meme where someone's like, I'm gonna play Gilded Drake and take flubs. It's like, why are you smiling? It's like, oh no, I'm bummed. Like this is terrible.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think it's interesting. I would
Yeah.
really like to see a flubs deck that tries to win like that, and then if they can't win, they're like, I better give them away. Like,
I think this is what casual is. A
yeah,
really fun commander.
yeah,
Really crazy, like break it all you
yeah.
want, figure it out. Like
And I will say I looked at him for I was at work on a 15-minute break, and I was like, I bet I can break him in 15 minutes. And without really help from the internet at all, he had just been spoiled. We figured it out, in the Discord. So yeah.
yeah. I think you'll see this as a casual commander for sure somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, people that are running Zedu are probably looking at flubs and going, "Oh, I actually have something that I potentially can close the game with." And also, if I can't, I get to gift people stupid stuff because most of the gift cards were blue and red, and white was just kind of there to keep you alive,
Yeah, just to do things.
But I mean, if you, yeah, this looks fun. I like it. Cool. Well, I think that is the last one. So that is our Commander set review. If you made it this far, thank you, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. Um, if you're listening to the podcast, thank you for going all the way through. Hopefully, you were able to kind of hear what all the cards looked like and hear our takes on them. If you could please rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any platform you listen to us on. Please do that. It helps a lot. And we'll see you next time.
Also, please vote for Ribbit Study. That's the best one.
When that Twitter poll comes up, I will put it in the description of the video or comment it. You'll make the right decision. I'm sure.
Yep, and it's Ribbit Study.
It's Ristic Ribbit.
Thank you guys for listening.
All right. See ya. Bye.